Hello. So many games to cover. So many games I've got, including collector's editions. I got all over the place over here. So let's get started. Start with the games that I finished. I finished Genso Manage. So that game kind of starts out slow, gives you kind of like these cozy vibes, but then it gets kind of dark. There is some really sad stuff and some really terrifying stuff once you get to the routes that have it. So Hugo's route doesn't really touch on it, but the next route in, if you go with the order that the developers recommend, Surge's route does. It does a pretty good job of touching on it, and it makes his bad ending all the more sad because of it. Because at that point, you understand what's going on, and in his good ending, things get fixed. The bad ending, it doesn't. Um, Hugo's route is more focused on the past and letting you know exactly what happened to cause our main protagonist that we play as to have lost her memory and her ability to use magic, yet she still can learn to use her magic again, which is what there's like a mini game you can play to unlock. But of course, once you play the mini game one time, at that point on, you can choose to skip it and it automatically proceeds as if you succeeded at the mini game. Um, I don't know what failing the mini game will do. I just succeeded at the mini game because that doesn't affect whether you get the bad ending or not. You can succeed at the mini game and still get the bad ending. Um, I say out of all the routes, Cryer's route seemed the tamest until I did his bad ending, and that one was rough. That bad ending was definitely dark. It goes into like a direction I didn't expect per se, but I understood why they did it. It's definitely one of the themes going on with the references to witches and stuff in the game. Especially since the main character, like I said, she's a witch, and it's established pretty early on this fact. And then the last route, if you go in the order that the developer recommended, like I did, the last route will be Arnaud's route, which is only unlocked by doing Hugo's route. And his route shows everything that happened in the past, what's currently going on, and it gets dark fast. Like, I was upset the majority of that route. That route was hard to read through. It does have a good ending. There's a good ending. There's obviously a bad ending, too. And it's just. It's really rough to get to that point. Once you do, it's like, okay. Like. I really, like, took a breath once it finally got to the point where it's like everything's going to be okay now. All right, even in his bad ending, as bizarre as that is, things turn out kind of okay in the long run. Um, Although obviously it's a bad ending. It wasn't as bad as like some of the endings. Um, but in a sense, I was okay with it. Like, it hurt to see it, but at the same point, it was nice to see that the main character, she was okay after seeing everything that went on. I mean, it's not ideal. Like, it's a bad ending, but it was still like way better than what was going on. I just put it that way because there was just some stuff going on in the game that you're like, I hate every minute of reading this. I just want to be done with this. I want to get past this part of this game. I want to see what happens. I want to see her be okay. Um, like the only thing I don't want to ruin it, so I don't want to really say what anything happens. Just you do get concerned for her physical well being at in that route, and it's very troubling. Um, and then of course finishing Arnaud's route then unlocks a extra menu option in the main menu of the game, and that's the true ending. It doesn't have her choose anybody. Instead, it shows her past. And once you've got past like all the details of her growing up and you get caught up with what's going on in the present, it starts to have things. It kind of like takes parts of Arnaud's route and blends it into that, and they have everything come out okay. But they go with like a completely new ending, and I kind of appreciated that because it's more focused on her being happy for herself and everybody wanting to make sure that she is happy, which leads to some a little bit of hilarious hijinks at the very end because they all are in disagreement, of course, about who she should spend time with, and it's like, all right, you guys are silly. It felt perfect to end it that way at that point. Having played through all the routes to get to that point, I understand why the developers recommend the route order that they do. Let's put it that way. So I really do recommend following that route order. You know, Hugo's, Surge's, Crier's. I'm not sure how you say his name. Lyon, Lyon, the bunny guy. Uh, Luciol. I'm not really sure on pronunciation. His name either. And then finally Arnaud. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that's the perfect order. I feel because it puts Crier in the middle, and his is if you're just focusing on the good endings and you're not completionists like my nerd but about Tome games, you'll be like, this was a breath of fresh air. It has mild drama. It's not as bad as the drama in some of the other routes. Some of the other routes, it really is like, oh, why are you doing this to me? Now I'm sad. So that was Ginso Monage. I do say it's a good visual novel. It definitely it was a visual novel that I definitely enjoyed in the long run of things. At first I was a bit hesitant because when you first start the game it's like, oh boy, an amusement park. Yay. We're gonna spend all day on an amusement park because that's fun. And it's kind of slow to get to the more dark things with what happened and with what is going on and stuff. But once it does, it's like, okay, now you have my attention. Say what now? So, once it finally got to the point where it's like, okay, there's people who actually are in danger and stuff. There actually is some in-depth situation going on here. It's not just, hey, there's a magical amusement park, and once you have your magical abilities, everybody's gonna be happy. I was like, yeah, great. Um, so I was glad that it wasn't all just rainbows and glitter. As much as I like certain cozy games and stuff, I don't feel like that's my thing in a visual novel. I'd rather have some kind of stakes going on, and it did get to that point, and it did have some very surprisingly dark situations that really pulled it all in for me. All right. After that, I played Tevi because apparently I was not done playing depressing games that have rainbows and glitter, and then oh my gosh, this is terrible. Going on. So I learned nothing. So Tevi is a game you play as a girl with bunny ears. Let's see. I don't really want to talk about her too much because it'll spoil something that I didn't know going in, and I was flabbergasted with the other characters about it. I was like, wait, what? Um, so it's a Metroidvania. You kind of explore around and you get new abilities as you proceed through the story and through exploration. Because some of them you just find exploring, some of them you get as part of the storyline. And these new abilities allow you to explore areas you couldn't before. And sometimes you have to. And I say this because I learned something, like almost at the end of the game. I had not upgraded all my gear because I didn't care. And you need to upgrade your jumping boots because there is an area that you have to wall jump more than the 4 times to get up it. You need at least one upgrade on that. You need at least to be able to jump 7 times, and then you can jetpack boost the rest of the way. But you need the 7 jumps at least. Ideally, you want to go ahead and unlock the 10 jumps just to make it easier on yourself, but that's besides the point. I learned that the hard way. I had to go back and teleport around and try to find places I hadn't been to try to find this material that's rare, and hope that either one of the monsters rarely drop it. Hope that either they drop it while I'm just running around aimlessly, or I find one of the few places that I just did not explore yet and can figure out how to get through there to pick up this stupid material. I eventually finally got the materials I needed, got the thing upgraded the one time, and I barely could make it with the 7 jumps. That's why I say I recommend going ahead and fully upgrading it and holding off on other upgrades. Because as useful as the little pew-pew things are, I call them pew-pew things. I forget what they're called, but the little orbs that help you, that do range damage. As helpful as they are, you absolutely have to have the jump unlocked in order to get to the final area, which was not fair, but I did it. I was playing it on the easiest difficulty too, which had me into a false sense of security that I would need to do something ridiculous like that. But whatevers. It gave me a chance to find more money and upgrade more skills that I really didn't need. I went ahead and upgraded some more of her, getting her potion things to make her attack stronger than it already was. When you're playing on the easiest difficulty, it's pretty much almost impossible for enemies to kill you. They can do it if you're not paying attention. I almost died one time in the game because I was freaking off and not paying attention, and I didn't realize that the enemy was not taking damage, but instead was reflecting it back at me. And I was like, oh shit, I'm getting myself kicked here. And I had to stop, and I had some, I think it was bunny pancakes or some nonsense in my inventory to use to heal. I was like, I screwed up there. Oops. I made sure I had heal items after that. Like, we're gonna hold on to heal items just in case. Gonna make sure there's at least 2 accessible in case I do something stupid like that again. Which, I mean, yeah. Anyways, like, throughout the game, you, like, meet people and you're talking to people and stuff, and you're exploring around, just bopping bad guys and collecting these gear things because, her dad said that he wants to use them for good, and she just said, okay, cool. And you really don't know what's going on. At some point, it become a goal to collect the gear things because you find out some bad guy wants to use the gear things to cause some kind of decay to spread across the world in order to have some kind of dream come true. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's not supposed to, I suppose. And who the bad guy is gets changed. You're like, well, I thought that was the bad guy. That's not the bad guy. This is the bad guy. I thought that was the good person. Oh, nope, that's not. The good person is somewhere else. But they look the same. They're different people. What? And then silly revelations about the main character, Tevi, and I'm like, wait, what? You mean all the way at the beginning of the game that there was technically a way that all of this could just been avoided? Just whatever. It's just one of those moments like, what? Okay. And some, there is death in the game. There's definitely some deaths that I was like, wait, why? No. And they wait so long in the game, so you're, like, not expecting it. And then they're just like, ta-da! Welcome to darkness. I'm like, I do not appreciate that. I liked it better when the darkness was just kind of an undertone, where if you went around talking to people, you would get the idea that things were bad. Like, oh, the environment used to be lovely and pretty, but ever since the cataclysm, okay, cool. Y'all live in rundown ruins, but it's fine because you're alive. That makes sense. Cool. And finding out like certain areas are uninhabitable. There's one area that people inhabit, even though it's kind of uninhabitable because they've already started to mutate. I'm like, what? Like, what is going on there? You find out there's only one person that's immune. I'm like, what? But why? There's people that are barely alive. There's people that are being kept alive by something, but they probably shouldn't have been. I'm like, wait, but then what happens when, you know what? I don't think I want to know. I've came to that conclusion. I don't want to know. It was kind of one of those moments. I was like, you know what? I think the answer is that they died, and I don't want to know. But the way it ends good. It has like a really good, solid ending that kind of rounds things up. You have an epilogue of sorts, and you're like, okay, I like how that ended. Like, I'm sad that these people died. But in the end, things are going good now. Things are being fixed. The people are starting to get along that weren't getting along. And it kind of gives you like this open end where, Tevi is going off to start a new adventure. She has the world in front of her to do whatever she wants. And I'm like, that is cool. I love that. I would love to see a sequel. Even though I'm not crazy about Metroidvanias, they're not really my style. I hate platforming. I suck at platforming. And I don't have a lot of patience for all the exploring in platforming stuff. But I enjoy like the combat systems. I enjoy the way that you level up and find new abilities. And I definitely enjoy the storyline. So it's like, they ever make a Tevi 2 or whatever they want to call it, I totally would play it. It's definitely one of my favorite games. Even though I never liked to play Metroidvanias, it's definitely one of my all-time favorite games now. And I'm like, you know what? The story redeemed the few gripes I have about the stupid platforming that they force you to go through. There's no skips like there is in like it's a Prince of Persia game. There was like an option to skip some of the platforming. I was like, I would have liked if they had incorporated that, but whatever. In the long run of things, I managed to get through it, and I loved how it ended. I loved how the story played out, even with the sad parts with the deaths and stuff, and the shocking moments. I feel like that added to it, even. Okay, then I played and beat Arafel. I played that through PlayStation Network. It's available through multiple things. It's a indie RPG. So you mainly play as this girl, and you kind of are in these ruins with a guy that she's friends with or whatever. And she ends up having to run around to get something because he hurt himself, and you learn how to make potions and stuff at the beginning. And you're like, hey, this is cute. It's a fun little turn-based game. The combat's not complicated, whatever. And you run around, and I played it on the easiest setting just to make things go faster because it makes it very clear if you play on harder, you will be level grinding. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And they're like, well, if you play on easy, you don't have to level grind at all. And I was like, really? And it's true, you don't. I did not end up doing any grinding at all in the game. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm fine with that. That's cool. So it's fun, cute little art style and just kind of running around and in these ruins, and you end up falling through a hole. And you end up running around by yourself because you fell through the hole, and what else you gonna do? And then naturally, the first thing you do when you find a mysterious ring when you're exploring is put it on. Like, oh, somebody's really smart. Cool. So, after various storyline and stuff, you're given the option to kind of explore, do what you want to an extent. There's like side quests that you could do, so I went ahead and did some of those and ran around and explored to the extent that I could at that point, because there is like a little bit of a limit at first. Later on, limits slowly open up more and more, and then you're just kind of left to do whatever. Of course, you're also given a main objective where you're supposed to go to proceed. And you do eventually run out of side quests to do. But it's kind of cool that that is a thing. And it's like, all right, that's cool. And you slowly unlock like more things you can do. And I'm like, all right, I like this. That's cool. Defeating enemies outside of, making you stronger because you leveled up or whatever, also drop stuff. And this stuff, you can collect it and upgrade your equipment rather than buying new equipment. I like that concept in an RPG. Not that many do that. Instead of buying new equipment all the time, you instead just kind of look around while you're exploring for the items, or beat the ever-living snot out of the monsters that can drop the item. I accidentally knocked something over because I am a klutz and I cannot sit still. Anyway, so I was like, you know what, I love this concept. I like that that's how you upgrade the stuff. And it's the same with the skills. Your skills can be upgraded by finding specific items. And then finally, your job class can change if you find the right hidden area with a tablet thing. And I was like, what? Because I didn't find that till like towards the end of the game. It's like, wait, there's hidden job class things? And it unlocks more abilities for each character. And the job classes they can choose from are related to what they start as. So you start as, she starts as like a bow and arrow person. But she can choose whether or not she wants to focus on her magic skills that she has and go with a more of a healer type role, or she wants to focus more on her archery skills and be more of just a powerful pew. I went with archery skills because I said, screw shields. Why would I want to use that? Answer is the final boss is why you'd want to use magic shields, but I chose to be dumb and struggle, apparently. But, stupid decisions aside, I did manage to take out the final boss anyway. Oops. I don't always make the smartest decisions when it comes to what skills I use in these games, and sometimes it's to my detriment. But I had fun exploring stuff in the game. I had fun doing side quest stuff. There's bounties to do optional boss battles. Some of those are pretty cool. There's even an optional boss battle that's not a bounty. It just gives you a really cool item. I forget what item it gives you, but there's like a mimic chest. And I'm like, what? There's a mimic in this game? Yes! There's also wyverns, but the wyverns are part of the storyline. And I'm like, I'm fighting wyverns. I think one of the most ridiculous fights, I think it was mandatory, but I could be wrong. It had me laughing. We were fighting giant chickens. And they actually talked about it before. They said, I hear a noise. It sounds like chickens. Yeah. 2 of them? 3 of them? There's 3 chickens, just 3 giant chickens. I'm like, what? What am I doing? I was just laughing so hard fighting these giant-ass chickens. I mean, I was way stronger than the stupid chickens and beat the ever-living snot out of them. Because it was part of, like, this little gauntlet of, like, small bosses in the grand scheme of things, but they were giant, goofy things that you fight. I'm like, what am I doing? Oh, gosh. There's even a point later on that you fight 3 wyverns, and I'm like, I had to fight one wyvern earlier, and he was mean. But the 3 wyverns are not nearly as strong as the 1 wyvern was by itself, which, whatever. It's a fun RPG. There's a lot of silly nonsense that kind of goes on in it. There's also serious stuff that goes on about vampires and what they're up to and trying to become gods or something. I kind of got lost at some point at what they were trying to accomplish. I was like, what is he trying to do? Because, see, I thought he was trying to make vampire peoples. But then he said he doesn't want to remove the problem with facing the sunlight. And then he said he wants to be a god, and then he turned into purple goo. Okay, I give up. I don't know. There actually ends up being a battle that you are supposed to lose in the game, too. I won't tell you when or where, because I want you to be like me and be freaking out like, but I know. And then it was like, no, this is part of the story. And I'm like, wait, this is part of the story, ain't it? I was like, I don't need to load anything. We're cool. And the ending surprised me. I'm not going to tell you why it surprised me, but it surprised me. I did not expect the ending that Arafel gives us, but I loved it. And once you're done with the ending, an epilogue opens up on the main menu. Why they make you have to select it separately, I don't know, whatever. And, play through the epilogue, and it ends open-ended. It's another game that they can do a sequel to, and I kind of hope they do, because I love these characters. They're so interesting. Some of the stuff is kind of hilarious. Some of the stuff's kind of goofy. And some of the stuff was really serious at the same time. And it's like, I love how this game played out. I loved how the battle system worked. It was a very simple battle system. But at the same time, there was definitely things you knew would do better in battle than other things. There was learning that I should have picked up some, just at least somebody on my team should have had support skills. That or I should have had some healing items. Whoopsies. But at the same time, I love how the skills level up. I loved how the equipment is upgraded rather than swapped out. It was just one of those things where I'm like, I don't really know many games that do this. I can't even name any off the top of my head. I mean, Monster Hunter kind of has the, furthering your equipment, but you also swap out. So it's like, I don't know that there's anywhere you don't swap your equipment at all. You just upgrade it the whole time. Except for that game, and I love that. It's like, okay, if you want your equipment to be better, you have to find that particular material. And there is some shops that sell certain ones. And it's like, well, I guess I can either save up money to buy that, or I can go try to find the thing that drops it and hope that it drops it by beating ever-loving snot out of it. I literally was hunting bears at one point. I was like, I don't need the levels. I just need your pelt. Give me your skin, you stupid bear. I finally got the bears to drop it, but I was just like, seriously? Just come here and give me that. Because I don't remember if somebody sold it and I just couldn't afford it, or if it was a case of I couldn't find it for sale. It might have been a case I couldn't find it for sale yet. I hadn't been far enough in the story to find a place that had it, but I had found the enemy that dropped it. I was like, just give it to me. After I finished that game, which I definitely enjoyed it. For me, it's a 10 out of 10. I don't know how other people feel about the game, but it is really good. Then I played Shadows of Adam. I just finally finished that game, like, at the end of the month. Quite literally, finally beat the game. What can I say without spoiling things? I mean, the game does a good job, straight from the beginning, of pointing out that, this is a quest to find Orazio. It also does a good job of showing us that Orazio's an asshole. He's a jerk. He doesn't deserve to be saved. It doesn't make sense that his son wants to save him. He's been mean to his son. He's done nothing but cause people problems. But he saved Azrael. And that's the only good thing that you know that he's done. But then later on, you kind of question, well, I mean, he saved her, but he also was a jerk to her too. So it's like, I don't know how I feel. He's a jerk. He's a thorough jerk. Especially at the end of the game. I don't want to ruin why at the end of the game. There is plotline at the end of the game specifically from him, and you're like, yeah, why am I going to save you? Do I have an option to just tell them don't? But you don't. You don't have that option. Your main character you're playing as is Kellen, his son, who has a sword and not a lot of brains. He's kind of dumb. And he's dumb a lot. But it's funny. It's not always like, oh gosh, he's stupid. It's a lot of times it's like, what is wrong with him? And then sometimes you can come across an NPC in town who's even stupider, and then you just laugh and go, I have no idea what I just witnessed, but I am laughing now. Because that made absolutely no sense. Some of the there's even a few NPCs that just ramble this nonsense. You're like, what? What am I reading? It's still going. And then when it finally ends, Kellen goes, never again. But you can choose to talk to them again. And it repeats the exact same storyline. It's still funny, though, because it's optional, and it's just like, what am I reading? What is going on? Anyways, the main optional thing in the game is that you can look around these like side paths that are kind of hard to find purple chests that have better equipment in them versus what you can buy up to that point or even past that point, because I think in the final area there was purple chests that were better than the final equipment that you could buy. There was a few upgrades, not very much, but there was a few, and I was like, yeah, you know what, I like that. That's cool. Leveling wasn't too hard. I mean, I did have to level grind a little bit. I did learn that. By the time I reached the swamp, I was like, I've been fighting every single enemy. But, I think I need to level grind a little bit. They're starting to get a little tough. They're starting to kick my butt. And I'm like, I should have level grinded earlier. I mean, I learned my lesson, but had I known ahead of time, I would have definitely leveled up on some of the stupid wolves in the first forest area, because you could go back to the first town and sleep at the inn for free. That's the only time you can sleep at the inn for free. Your other free sleeps are only storyline sleeps, and they're kind of random and sporadic, and it's like, I have no clue. And then everybody else just gradually charges more. So at some point, you're like, I don't really need it, but I am a little hurt and could use the magic points, and I don't know when I'm going to come across another healing point. Because there are healing points, and the healing point is named save. And you know what save does? Save reminds you to save. You can save in the menu at any time, anywhere in the game for the most part. And I don't know why, but save is there to remind you to save. A lot of times, to me, that was the hint. You know what? There's probably a boss monster next. And it generally seemed to be the case. Towards the end of the game, there's a few times there's not a boss next. Well, I call it not a boss, but I guess they technically were bosses, but they're like repeats of stuff you fought earlier, so they're nothing. You're like, and you're nothing. Psh, you're dead. Because at that point, you've pretty much unlocked all your abilities and have the best equipment on, and if you're me, you wasted time in the Bell Arena getting enough money so that everybody has the region item equipped. So it's like, yeah, you know what? You guys barely hurt me, and I heal all the damage you do to me, so it's just kind of a weight game. Kellen, smack it 2 times. Azrael, charge your magic again, because you can't do anything but cast magic. You know, like... and then, you know, like Curtis, he has his... I think I use Suplex the most with him. I mean, Spirit Punch is useful, but I feel like Suplex did more damage. The only thing with Spirit Punch was it also healed him, so it was helpful somewhat. And then there was Talon. Talon was kind of useless. I mean, yeah, pick a card which does a random magic spell, and sometimes that was useful, but a lot of times it would just cast the weakest ass magic and do like 6 damage to each enemy. I'm like, good job. Now get hit because you're stupid. Like, a lot of times I was like, hit him. I don't care if he faints. He's useless. Hat Trick did some damage. I mean, it was decent against the final boss. I don't remember it being particularly useful, though. I think against the boss before the final boss, the 3 gems, I think I needed his stupid Hat Trick to finally take those things down. Because his poison didn't work on them. I was like, that's the only thing you got going for you, dude, is that you can poison enemies, and enemies I need you to poison, you can't poison. Cool. And then, like, the one thing Curtis is good for is Mind Read, which lets you know the enemy's HP bar, and you can't use it on the final boss because, like, well, to what good are you? Fine, suplex him. That's all you're gonna do. Just take him and drop him on his head. Just keep doing that, because I don't know what I'm doing. Cool thing that I noticed, though, while I was playing the game, enemies, as you beat the ever-living snot out of them, slowly show that they're taking damage. Your characters can, too. Like, they bend over like they've been punched in the gut. But it's cool that the sprite work changes, and the enemies and stuff have, like, better images than your characters do, because, I don't know. Anyway, I like the fact that it shows that. Only other game I know that did that is a game that should not be played, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. I only say that because Final Fantasy Mystic Quest is way too easy, and I feel like it's an insult to anybody who plays it, because I'm like, why? Anyway, they took that concept, the good concept, only good concept in that game, and then they applied it to this one. And I was like, you know what? Cool. I am glad. Because they also kept, of course, the linear progression thing. You just kind of go one direction until you get airship towards the very end of the game. And I'm like, what? You can go wherever you want now. Why now? I'm at the end of the game. I'm just gonna go beat the bad guy up. But there is, like, some optional places you could go. I mean, if you want to. I didn't really see the point. I already had the best equipment. Those places didn't have better equipment. I just was like, okay, there's not been any other side quests in the game. Just hilarious people to talk to was about it. What am I doing? So I ended up not really bothering with it because I was like, I don't know that I care. I don't know. I might have missed something funny or cool, but I was like, I'm at the end of the game. I'm just gonna beat the game. That was the only thing I didn't do. I did not go and explore the special islands. That's what I'm gonna call them. It was just like, okay. Anyways, I played it on Switch, so I don't know if that means it included the DLC or not, because, the Switch thing didn't really explain if it included it or not. I read the description, I was like, yeah, well, that told me a whole lot of nothing. I don't know. The only thing in the game that irritated me is, periodically, there are some really stupid puzzles. I call them stupid because they pissed me off. They took so much trial and error that there was at least 3 of them I could not figure out got so mad that I was just like, that's it. Paused the game, put my Switch down, and looked up a YouTube video and said, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to watch somebody else solve this damn thing. And then solve the puzzle my stupid self because I am not understanding this one. And a lot of times, the solution made no sense. I was like, what? It wants me to do. That's so backwards and out of my way. Why are you doing this? This is an RPG, not. Let's solve puzzles. This ain't Portal. So, there are some puzzles that are unnecessarily infuriating. There's also some really easy puzzles where you hit the ball one time and it just goes right into the thing, and you're like, why is this even here? I mean, the thing is just cool. Whatever. We're just like time wasters. Hey, whatever. I think that's really all I can talk about in the game without spoiling anything. I loved the storyline. I enjoyed the characters. I definitely enjoyed some of the stupid stuff the NPCs said. I was like, what are these idiots? These gamers' dad is stupid. This is some of the dumbest things. It was so funny. Alright, now let's get on to the way too much stuff that I got. Where to start? Alright, I'm going to start with the unimportant stuff. I can't remember if I showed this or not, because I can't remember if I got it last month or this month, because, I remember nothing. Pikachu hat, because why not? I think it was like $8. Honestly, it was just a case of, I saw Pikachu on a hat, and I was like, I want it. These are Harvest Moon cow headphones. I could not resist. There's two other animals you can get. I went with the cow because I don't know. You can also get a cat and you can get a bear. And I said I want the cow one. I don't have any cow like headbands or headphones or anything. So that's what I went with. I keep knocking stuff over. Oh my goodness. I got some stuffed bunnies, but those have nothing to do with anything besides Easter, so I'm just gonna kind of ignore them. Alright, this is the only game that didn't have a case. But that's because I was not gonna pay to get a case on it. Chrono Trigger for the DS. I got this through, I think it was PNP Games, I believe, is what they're called. It's a Canadian game company, and they have a lot of like retro games like this. And I was super excited about that. Alright, which to go for first? Alright, let's go with the games that are not collector's editions first, because collector's editions are scaring me. Alrighty, so I don't have the first game yet. I need to get 9 doors, 9 persons, 9, I don't remember. But, 3 nines DS game, I need to get that still. But I went ahead and got this because I saw it on sale. Virtue's Last Reward. It is the second entry in the Zero Escape series. The first one's 999. But I was like, a Vita game that's not extremely expensive. It was like 20 something, and I was like super excited. I was like, I can afford it. Alright. I think I got it through Amazon. Okay. I know I ordered this through Amazon. I just mainly was like, hey, it's another Scotfold game, and I like the concept of these games. So I went and got it. It's Into the Fray for PS5. This was like $10 off or something on Amazon. I forget. So I went ahead and finally bought it. Dragon Quest III, the HD 2D remake. Because I officially own Dragon Quest 1 and 2 on the Switch. I know that's not everybody's favorite version, whatever. That's how I played Dragon Quest 1. And I was like, I'm going to get around to Dragon Quest 2 probably this year. So I should go ahead and get this game. That way I can play it after I finish 2. Alright. This was it 10 or 20? It might have been $20. I saw it at Walmart on sale, Assassin's Creed Mirage, and I was like, hey, it's not full price anymore. And I went ahead and nabbed it. I've not really played through entirely any Assassin's Creed game because they're long and I have no patience. But I love these games and the fact that they're in like different countries and stuff. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get that one. I think this was actually the most recent game that came. Uh, the first Berserker Kazon. I don't know how to say that name. I've not actually started it yet. It's definitely on my I want to try to play it this year list. Because it just sounds cool. He's falsely accused of treason, exiled from the empire he swore to protect, and he's a general. And I guess he's on a journey to revenge the first Berserker. He's journey of revenge in the first Berserker. Okay, whatever. General Kazon's journey of revenge in the first Berserker Kazan. Whatever. Who cares? I guess his name is Kazan. That's why I don't know how to say it. Anyway, got like some cool artwork and stuff kind of going on. And that was like the main thing that pulled me in. I was like, I love this like kind of blood themed art style kind of thing going on with the, you know, markings and stuff. And I was like, I'm super curious about this. I feel like I will really enjoy just how unique that is. Like, not that many series bother with making stuff look dark and stuff like that. So I have a weakness for anything that has to do with Japan. And finding out that this one was in Japan made me legit go, I need to buy it now. Assassin's Creed Shadows. I like pre-ordered it last minute through Video Games Plus, and I was so glad that they still had it in stock. That's another Canadian retailer that I've recently started like ordering a bunch of stuff with. So it came with the pre-order add-on stuff. You get the bonus quest Thrown to the Dogs. And I guess later on it's supposed to unlock Claws of Awaji expansion. I have no idea, but it's supposed to come out this year. So maybe it'll come out by the time I get around to playing this. I don't know. But I like the fact there's 2 playstyles in this. It has it on the back. You could be a shinobi assassin or a legendary samurai. And it says master complementary playstyles, which leads me to believe that you can switch between the 2. So I'm hoping that's the case, because that would be actually pretty cool to be able to, on the fly, switch between the 2 styles. Alrighty. Monster Hunter Wilds. My dad's played it some. I've not really messed with it. I mainly saw the fact that you can ride this creature that will take you straight to the monster, so you're not running around aimlessly lost and hopelessly confused like I normally do in games. So that made me happy. Alright. Shit. So I'm pretty sure I own both these games on PlayStation Network for like the PlayStation Portable and the PlayStation 3. But why the hell are you falling? Like, my chair is not leaning that much. Bad games. Get back here. Anyway. But I saw that they were doing this remake, and I had to pre-order it. I just was like, you know what? No, I'm going to get this. Day 1 edition. Did it come with... It came with some kind of items. I don't know. Some kind of potch, fortune orb, and prosperity orb. Cool. Whatever. Anyways, it's both the first and second game, so that's pretty cool. Allows you to just kind of play them back to back if you want to. I don't know if I'll do that per se. Basic reading ability is needed to fully enjoy this game. No kidding. But yeah, I was pretty excited about ordering this game because I was like, I have heard that these games are really good. and I just never got around to them. And I was like, you know what? I'll go ahead and get this version, and yeah. So I will eventually get to that game. All right. This is another visual novel. I haven't started it yet. I will. Despera Drops. So, I'm not really understanding, but apparently you were falsely arrested for a brutal killing, and you joined six fugitives in a new life of crime, solve the murder, evade the police, and mysterious assailants, all while dealing with your shady cohorts. So, I don't know if any of them are actually criminals that did anything, or if it's just kind of a blame game. I do like the fact that the inside cover kind of gives you a good profiler of everybody. Anyways, each of these characters has a root, and then there's a true root of you yourself. So I actually am really looking forward to it. That's all I know about it because I've been avoiding learning anything about it other than that. I was like, all right, cool. There's basically 7 roots. I'll get around to it. Alright, I like Hello Kitty games because, I don't know. But I went ahead and got this Hello Kitty Island Adventure Deluxe Edition. I've not actually played it yet. I don't know what I'm waiting for. I think it's just, part of me is super excited to play it, but part of me is like, I got other games to play still. But I love the little verse art. It's kind of cute. And it came with a little poster of this front cover. And then the flip of the poster is I guess the map. That's my best guess. I don't know. I was just like, all right, that's cool. All right. Which place did I get? I think this was also PNP games. Langrisser 1 and 2. I've been meaning to get this game because I know that the original games, I believe that if I remember correctly, the original games came out on Genesis, and I never had picked them up because I was a kid and I couldn't read worth shit back then. But I was like, hey, they're remastered. They're relatively short RPGs, and I feel like I would love them. Just because they're of the style they're played in. And so I finally got it. So, okay. Do I actually have these in order, or do I got these in... I got these in random assness, so let's do this one first. Alright. This one, I get Yu-Gi-Oh! Early Days Collection. Yeah, that's what it's called. I'm like, what is this thing called? It's Yu-Gi-Oh! Collection. Anyways, it's Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games. Some of them were Japan only until now. This card is just bouncing around. If you buy the physical copy, new, I pre-ordered, so of course it was new. You could get one of the 2 cards. This is the one I got of the Harpy's Feather Duster. I can read. There's another variant, and it kind of shows you on the cover here that the other variant. I mean, it's kind of collectible. I mean, if you're like me, you like to collect random stuff like that. It's nice. I had never played any of the Game Boy Advance games because I don't know. I just never did. I do have one Game Boy and one Game Boy Advance game. I don't know if they're actually on here. I think the Game Boy game is. I don't know if the Game Boy Advance game is. It might be. I think it's the Tournament 2004 thing that's on here. I could be wrong. Don't ask me. I don't remember. But not all of these are normal card games. There's board games. There's an RPG. Believe that, a Yu-Gi-Oh! RPG. So, there's a variety of stuff going on in this game. I've not actually played through it because it's several games, and I'm like, I have a life. Thank you. But I will eventually get around to playing the different games in it, especially the RPG one, because I like me RPGs. Alright, now we're gonna do the 3 games I got through PlayAsia. So, Disney Music Parade Encore. I absolutely have heard nothing about this game, but it's in English. So, it's a rhythm game kind of thing, and you collect magical rides and memories. And there's 60 Disney classic and Worlds of Dreams and Magic. It can be played with up to 4 people. I'm obviously not going to torture anybody into playing this nonsense with me. But anyways, the stages recreate iconic scenes from Disney animated films. I mainly was like, that's cool. Like music and parades and stuff. From, Disney. And it has kind of like an idea of like all the stuff in it. Like, I bet it's like trademarked to death, and there's like absolutely no way it could be ever streamed because Disney would absolutely smack the hell out of that video with a cease and desist. But I absolutely am excited for this. So yeah. I do like that one of the rides that they show in the back is a Cheshire Cat. You can ride the Cheshire Cat. Why not? That would be fun, actually. I like the Cheshire Cat. All right. The latest in the series, because of course, and I also am gonna have to eventually order the other one they just announced. I don't remember when. I think it's supposed to come out this. I know in September, Sky FC's coming out, but there's mention of another one coming out, and I thought it said this fall also. I don't know. It's like something it's like Horizon or something. I don't know. I will order it though whenever they have a standard available because I don't really want the collectors. Anyways, this is just the standard deluxe edition. Is that a thing? Whatever. Deluxe edition. Because that was what they had, and I was like, okay, cool. So it included a digital soundtrack, which I already got, and it included on my computer anyway. And it includes this little art book, and like the first page of the art book says, "Following pages contain spoilers. Reader discretion is advised for those who've yet to complete the game." So I immediately put it away. First cover art kind of shows you the characters there. And I was just like, oh, well, I want to look at the art book, but I don't want to, like, spoil any storyline, obviously. So I just put it away. I was like, well, I will eventually look at the art book whenever I play through this entire series. Because I'm going to start with I'm wanting to wait for the remake of FC. Translate in the Sky, first chapter. And I want to see if they're going to remake the second and third chapters the same way. That way I can play all the new editions of them. Because I've played a little bit of the first chapter on the computer, and seeing the difference between that and the trailer for the remake, and I was like, I definitely want to play the remake. Alright, and then I absolutely had to get this. Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. So the case is in Japanese, but it is an English game. The case, I have absolutely no idea what's going on with it, but whatever. I do love the reverse art. But yeah. So I'm excited about this because this was originally a Wii U game, and finding the Wii U copy was like the same price as this. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to pay the price for a brand new game. Why get a used game on a Wii U that I don't really want to dig out and plug in? And I can get it on the Switch. So, plus, it's the definitive edition, which I don't know what that means, but it makes me think that maybe there's something added to it. Either way, I'm excited, and I look forward to playing it. Alright, jeez. Which collector edition thing do I want to do first? Um, well, let's start with the one that's not Serenity Forge, because I got a bunch of Serenity Forge ones, basically. Alright. So this one is Atelier Yumiya. This is the only one that's not by Serenity Forge that I got a collector thingy of. This was the premium edition I got of it. Is there anything in this case? No. Okay. I couldn't remember if there's anything actually in the case. So from what I understand, this Atelier is not like the other Ateliers. There's not really a focus on the alchemy this time around. To which I said, okay. And after some confusion, I moved on. So it came with these acrylic things. It also came with some chains that you can like turn them into a necklace or key rings, not key rings, but you know, you could like, you know, the little tiny dangly things. You can put them on a key ring, I guess, or you can put them like on a backpack or, you know, whatever. I like the fact that there is a thing to just kind of stand them in. I'm trying to not knock them all off the thing. I'm not familiar with the characters yet, so to me it's just a bunch of peoples. So whatever. And then you got the Widow Bird, that is on Yumiya's outfit. Little ploosh of him. So I like that. He's cute. Little cute birdie. I don't know where to put stuff so that I don't like knock everything over or drop everything. Well, he fell on the floor anyway. Bye, bird. And then this is the CD. So when you open it up, it tells you like the soundtrack stuff, and then you got like all this beautiful art. So I was like, that is cool. So I really like that. So that was pretty cool with the CD thing. And then you got these two little books. So this is the Japanese book, and it has artwork in it, which is so cute. I love seeing her hugging the little bird because it's about how I felt about the little bird. And then this is that book. There's no pictures, but it has everything in English. So I was like, oh, cool. I don't know if I should play the game first or read this first. It's just it just tells you it's a short story, and it's called "So I May Spread My Wings." So I don't know. I'm undecided if I should read this first or play the game first. That's about where I stand on that one. I can't decide. I'd love advice if somebody knows, like which I should do first. Anyways, this is the art book that it came with. So this is just, you know, just gets your pictures and stuff. And of course, everything in this art book is in Japanese, so it's not like I can read it anyway. Alright. On to the Serenity Forge stuff. Alright, so Sword Fairy Together Forever. I've been wanting to get this game. I don't really have a reason for putting it off, other than because I could, I suppose. Anyway, inside it came with like this thing has a code on it for some additional content. I don't know. I don't really know. And the soundtrack. It also came with this metal case that I could put the game in. I absolutely love the design of this thing. I will eventually put the game in this. I just have not done so yet. Because I put things off. I really don't have an explanation for myself. it came with a little plush doobob. Try to get it to quit being too bright so you can see it. Yep, there we go. And I was like, all right, I like this. This one does not have like a little chain thing on it though, so you can't like hang it up anywhere. It just kind of roly polies everywhere. There's a card game in the game. So of course there's a physical version of the stop it, you stupid light thing. Journey Heaven Earth. So and then on the back there's like a thing, a QR code you could scan to learn how to play, and it just like has like all the cards in here that are part of the card game, and it has beautiful artwork and stuff that I have absolutely no idea what any of it means because I ain't played the game or looked at the instructions. So whatever. I have not punched these out because I don't really have a place to put stuff right now, but I will eventually punch these cuties out and put them on their little things, put them on display somewhere. I actually love the artwork for both the boys and the girls in this game. I'm just like, they are so adorable. Like, I rarely like every character's design in a game. I have somebody I want to nitpick about, but I love the style. So these are postcards actually of some of the artwork. So this is one of the characters. I'm hoping that I can play as him. That's so cool. The other male character, he has a sword. This is the girl with the bird. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I probably won't like playing as her if that's a thing, because it looks like she uses magic. But she's so cute. I'm like, oh my gosh. I just love how pretty and amazing the artwork for this is. Like, if nothing else, it's pretty. I feel like I will love it, though. That's just my opinion on it. And then this is the original soundtrack on disc. I love that it has that cute little artwork going on. And there are 4 discs in here. And each disc has like a background like this one does. And then this little pamphlet thing is the list of what music's on each of the discs. So I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. I love like big CD cases like this. I don't see them very often. And I was like, that is amazing. Alright, and then this thing, it's a desk playmat, if you I guess is what they called it. It's huge, obviously. And I mean, it's made really good rubber type backing. And the top of it's so smooth. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but I love it. Like, right now, it's just kind of being used for, hey, let me put my stuff out of the way so I don't knock everything on the floor. That's kind of what I've been using it for right now, but it will eventually be used for other purposes. So. But, you know, for now, it's just kind of a, well, I don't want my stuff falling on the floor. And me having to pick it all up. So that's just kind of what it's been relegated to. Alrighty. Alright. Now to pick up my other stuff. Okay. All the games I showed you already are just falling over because they do not like me. Trying to shoot. I was trying to not do that, but it happened anyway. Alright, let's go with the one that has the least stuff. Physical edition of As Dusk Falls. It comes with a poster. And it comes with the little black book. It has like stuff wrote in it. What is it called? Dante's Black Book. I'm not gonna read it in case it spoils the story because I've not actually played this game. But I love this poster. It kind of looks like a movie poster. So I thought that was kind of cool. Every family has secrets. Every secret has a price. Like yeah, I love the way that that's done. I was like, oh gosh, it's done like a movie poster. I love it. Absolutely love that. Alrighty. Shadows over Loathing. So this is the game. Inside here, I got my stickers. I left these stickers in there. Why I have no explanation for you. Um. Anyway, questionable decisions aside, it comes with a tentacle keychain because why not? It comes with a compass that is absolutely not accurate at all because there's no magnets in it, but it's entertaining. This is a microfiber cloth that I basically am going to collect. I don't really need any microfiber cloths, but I like it, whatever. Some coasters. You got Oliver's Place, the Purple Door, Noblesse Oblige. That was kind of cool. Because 3 of these identical postcards. Visit beautiful Crystal Dreamer Lake. Right, it's 3, right? Yes, 3. It's like, I don't remember. Anyway, yeah. It's the map. And I'm just like, cool. And on the back of it, it tells you affix 1 meat stamp here. So I was like, that is hilarious. So you got the Seaside Institute of Technology. I love these little silly faces. They're like pasted in here. I've not read this. I don't know if I should read it before or after the game. Another one of those. If you know, I would love advice on that. Now you got some more stickers. Just, I like how the cat's like the most normal looking thing. Like out of everything, the cat's the only one that looks normal. The cat's like, I stand alone. I shall be the normal one. Alright, yeah, that was it for that. Alright. And then I got this game, Genesis Noir. Gosh. There's a poster in here. There's some stickers in here. This is one of them lenticular cards that like moves as you move it, whatever. Jeez. The poster, you got this side, and then you got this side. I have no clue what's going on, but you know. Maybe it'll make sense after I play the game sometime. I'll eventually get to it. It's just one of those things where I'm like, I know I want to play it. Just so much to do. So many games to play. Alrighty. So you got these postcards. The Constant. The Garden of Eden. Come Thaw at the Tea House. The Hunter's Cave. You got this pin that you can rotate to look at the different Falling Guy poses. And it says black holes are cold, lonely places. And then yep, alright. You got this keyring, like this different things on it. And then I haven't set it yet because I'm lazy. And I need to set the time on it. But a watch. I can't tell for sure, but I think it might actually have the right time. With a sticker. Almost the right time. It was so darn close to the right time, that's ridiculously crazy. Alrighty. It almost had the right time. Alrighty. Well, now it's set. Anyway. I like that it comes in this little, I don't know, let's call it velvet pouch, I guess. Yeah. Anyway. So that's cool. And then it also came with this book. And this is like about the making of the game, I guess. So I'll probably wait to read this until after I've beat the game. I don't think I need advice on that one. Is that all of them? Did I finally get through all of them? I finally got through all of them. Thank you so much for watching. I have so much to put away. I am gonna go do that, and I'll see you next time where I hopefully have managed to put everything away and actually beat a game. Until next time, bye.